Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm in Southern California, my hometown actually, Dana Point, California. I went to high school just literally 1 mile up the road, and we have Houston Heat in town. This is the HK Army sponsored team, and my number one requested video that I always ask is, how do I go pro? And there's nobody better that I could have at the table than YAYA Bouchez, World Cup champion, professional for how many years?
This is my 12th season.
12th season as a professional. What's up, YAYA? How we doing? Good. It's always good to see you, YAYA.
I love it here. I mean, literally, come out see you, come out to California. I love it. It's everything I dream of right there.
Hell yeah. Before we get into what it takes to actually be a professional paintball player, I wanted to know why you're out here. What are you doing right now?
We're on the grind. We've been a team now for, 7 years, and this is something we do at the beginning of every year, is we always come to California because, as we are all told, this is the mecca of paintball. And so if you're going to come train here, you're going to come train with the best. And usually California has the best players in it. If not, then we bring them into California so they're playing there. So, yeah, that's why we're here, and we're here to train, and that's what we're doing.
I heard you guys playing Dynasty.
Yep.
And you played them today, and then you're going to play them tomorrow. How did that go so far? How are you liking the field? How's everything going? How's the team gelling? This is, what, the first or second practice, I think? It's back since you guys won World Cup?
Yes. Well, actually, we do a little thing at the beginning of the year, and we get together in Texas, and then this is our second weekend on the layout. We went and played X Factor in Texas, and that actually went really well. They teach you a lot as a team. They either give it to you and beat the shit out of you, but you learn from it.
Yeah.
And then when you go play teams like Dynasty or the Ironman or people like that, then you can take that caliber of what X Factor just did to you, and you can apply it, and you learn different modes because they play two different styles. And it's a phenomenal thing. It's epic just because of the fact that you're playing Dynasty all the time. Honestly, one of the greatest teams in sport of paintball, and it's when you're lining up against them and you're playing well, it's okay, you have a chance to win a tournament right here.
Yeah.
And it's so they set you at a tone.
Yep.
And I love it. I love everything about it. So it's
awesome.
It's awesome.
And then one more thing before we get into it, when you come out and practice, say a team like Dynasty, or last weekend you were playing X Factor, when you go out there, do you guys give them real looks that you would do in the tournament, or do you throw them off with fake looks? Do you know what I'm saying?
I learned this from Jason Chosen, and you learn this at the beginning of a field when you look at a layout. Everybody thinks that there's trickery and everything. There's 8 bunkers you're probably going to go to off the break.
Yeah.
So if you don't apply your skills that you already know and things to work with the team, then you're kind of just wasting your own time. So yeah, you can't we can't really bullshit with these guys.
Yeah.
And it's you have to take every point in as a lesson right then and there. So there's no really going back and forth of bullshitting. So yeah, it's you literally just it's all on point. Whatever you're going to do right there is you're going to do that same shit in the tournament.
Gotcha, exactly. That's how I want to get to the bottom of it. There's no trickery at home, children.
Yeah. All these
straight grinding, you little keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to get into it. I mean, you did it. I played pro for a little bit too as well. I've come up the ranks, but I really wanted to grab you because you started from the bottom as a kid looking up to pros.
Yeah.
And you worked your way up, and you made it to not only to the pro division, but being the World Cup champ. I think you said not once, but
twice.
So let's talk a little bit. For a kid at home who's just starting, he just picked up a spider like I did back in the day.
Yeah.
He's
was a spider your first gun?
Yeah, it was my first gun.
Piranha was mine.
Piranha?
Yeah.
I had a little spider. Then I saved up for an autococker, and then I got an angel, and I thought it was sweet.
Oh, you went from a spider to an autococker?
No, a spider, autococker, angel.
Whew.
And then I was off to the races.
Then the deck continues.
When I had the angel, then I had a cheater board in it. It was getting all crazy.
Yeah.
HK technology, we'll talk about that later. No, but say, there's a kid at home, he just got his first gun, he's amped, and he's literally just played it the first time. He starts to look at the video, and he wants to understand how to be Houston Heat.
Yeah. How
do I get to that level? So what would your advice be to a kid at home who wants to go pro?
Well, first of all, I want to start out with the fact that how old is the kid? That's the first thing I ever take in. So if they're really, really young and, say they're 12, 13 years old, they're not really sure where they're at in life or what they like. They just know they love paintball.
Yeah.
And I love that in general. So for them even to ask me that is just an honor in general. So, a lot of people are oh, you just got to just go do it. And that's not exactly the greatest thing to ever say to anybody. So I usually kind of look at their profile before I answer the question, or even just think about it in general with people, because a lot of parents ask me the same thing.
Yep.
And I think that, depending on the situation, and that's how I kind of judge the situation, you can really break it down on it's a grind. Nothing is easy, and there's a reason why there's only so many pro players in the world. And I feel it's not that you're just one of the selected few, but you have to want it and then be selected. And with that being said, at 12 years old, I went to a birthday party. By the time I was 14 years old, I played on a team that we were traveling to World Cup in 2002. and driving there, and like I couldn't even drive to the event. Like
Yeah.
I had a guy asking my parents if I could actually go to the event and play with their team, and my mom's like crying because like her little boy's like leaving, literally leaving to go to an event that she's like has nothing, like she doesn't know nothing about. And I'm like,
Right.
oh boy, but yeah. One thing that I tell a lot of people is like you can never stop grinding, and a lot of kids spend a lot of money on headgear and things like that. And you know, I understand everybody wants to look cool, but if they just applied all that like that money to like them just practicing and being able to take criticism, they would jump up the ladder faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Another thing that I had to deal with a lot of people on is a lot of kids cheat at practice.
Yeah.
And you know from back in the day.
A lot of cheating, boys.
Yeah. If you
Marcus Nielsen, he taught us well. He gets shot, he like pull the hit and go, "Where are my hit rackets?" in his hand.
Yeah, looked right at the crowd and then smiled. So,
Shout out to the dream.
Another thing that like a lot of times where kids really like they want to cheat at practice, right? And I always like in clinics and things like that. I ask how many kids love winning at practice, and like all these kids raise their hand. I'm like, put your hand down. Like, well, I was like, when you're losing, you're learning, and a lot of people don't understand that. And
Oh, yeah.
like you get more from losing, but you're also a lot of times people play their strengths in practice,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help them at events. If they play to their weakness, then they can climb the ladder of just becoming pro. That's one way to look at it and things like that. Another thing that a lot of kids don't understand is it's a lot of money, and this is a luxury sport. So if you can afford it, then yeah, but it does take a lot of money. I personally, the second I graduated high school, I was a janitor and a telemarketer right after that, like right after like the day after I graduated high school. And going into college, I was like, shit, like what am I gonna do? And I literally was cleaning toilets, then going from there, going to class, and then going straight to being a telemarketer at night, and then hopefully staying up on my books and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is rough. But yeah, it's a journey in itself, but
Yeah.
everything's possible, you know?
Totally. For the kids, like I guess to get a little with those, that was all great. To get a little bit deeper into this, like, I mean, what do you think if a kid who doesn't have a team, say he's 14, 15 years old, what's like a step-by-step recommendation plan? Like, is it just get out to the field, play against people better than you, jump in as many games as you can, watch as much as you can? What is your like a couple steps that they could write down right now and go and actually put
Exactly
action
what you
towards
just said is it's huge. Go to the field. Even if you're watching or what you're doing, watch people who are better than you. And always try to play against people who are better than you. Always just be willing to practice. Just stay on the grind. Try to be the first guy there and the last guy to leave. And when you do that, like those things apply and you start to show progression. When you can do that, life and the game itself becomes a lot better. Because, I mean, the grind itself, it shows results, but you have to grind, and it's a lot. Like you said, you've been doing this for a long time, and just to go pro and things like that, it's a process. And once you hit that, it feels like I remember the day I went pro, I called my parents, I was bawling. I was literally bawling on the phone. They didn't know what I was crying about, and they didn't understand it, but I did because I knew what I went through. So, yeah, it's a lot.
What did your mom say to you, and what was that like?
So, I was on the phone with her. I was in my car, and the kids had also tried out with me. I just dropped off at the airport, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I did it. And she's like, did what? And I was like, I'm going to go pro. I told you I was going to do it. It gives me goosebumps right now.
That's so awesome, dude.
And her reaction was like, oh my God. And my dad's name is Bobby, and she's like, Bobby, get in here. And I was like, I literally have goosebumps still talking about it now. And she was just like, oh my gosh. And I was like, are you there? And she's like, I don't know what to say to you right now. She's like, my emotions are so high for you. She's like, you always told us that like you were gonna do this, and then you did it. She's like, I'm so proud of you. And like, I right there felt like I could have died to like the next day, because I was like, okay, my parents are proud of me.
Yeah.
And to have them say that to me, and knowing the fact that like I come from a small town and people don't have high expectations there, it was an amazing feeling. It was something that I can't replace it. And I mean, I had other goals set in life and like things like that, but for them to be so proud of me, it was amazing. It was honestly, it was truly a blessing.
That is awesome, dude. I could only imagine that call and what that was like for you and for her after all that hard work and grinding that you went through. And I'm sure she was there supporting you to be this professional player, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't just you. She helped you. Your parents helped you get to the field, things like that?
No, not at all.
Really?
I literally, I remember I was mowing grass, and then I literally bought a moped, and that's what got me back and forth
That's
to the
so
field.
tight, dude.
And then literally, I remember I had a four-wheeler, and if they weren't going to take me, because they would always be in church on Sundays, so if I was going to go to the paintball field on Sunday, I had to find my own way there. And I mean, I always just found like, if people always ask me all the time, like any kind of problem, I said, I'll figure it out. Because when I was a kid, I figured it out how to get to the field all the time. So when kids give me excuses like they couldn't get there, this and that, I always figured it out. So you can figure it out.
You see that? If you want it bad enough, you will find a way. And this mofo right here found a way. He got a moped and he got to the field dragging.
I swear.
That is bad.
I had a JT bag of the yellow like backpack thing, and that's like right now, like when I use the expand bag, I'm like, this reminds me of like old times.
Yeah.
Like, I packed it up, put it on my back, and I went. And
It's so tight. That reminds me of like guys here when you see him on the moped and they have the big old surfboard. Like, he's heading to go surf, ladies and gentlemen. There goes YAYA and Indy just heading to the paintball field, boys. That's so tight.
No, yeah.
Dude, that's rad, dude. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
This is awesome. We put in the work, ladies and gentlemen.
It's practice. It's a grind, but you gotta practice.
Definitely. Even us with HK, like when we were at tournaments back in the day, for us to actually even be able to afford paint, we'd go into the pro pits. I remember like it was yesterday, there was the infamous pits when LaSoya was back on the team and all that. We would go and we'd pit for them. We'd hear all the screaming, yelling, just watching every last move. And because we were helping them pit and clean off their hits and everything, they would give us paint. And we would use that paint to go play. And then we'd also use that paint to bring back home to practice more. So we were always doing whatever it took.
Comes back down to
it comes down to how bad you want it. And we've all rat packed hotels. We slept in a U-Haul one event because we didn't have enough money. But that, like, those are the best stories ever. And with those stories, like, I love looking back on it. And it was just like the best time of our life.
I was just saying even before when we were off camera, I sold my car to go to World Cup. And my dad was so mad at me, and he's like, "Why would you do that?"
Do you see what it takes? He sold his car.
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, well, I gotta afford the event." And then we went, and it was when World Cup was like so long, and I literally was like, we played. If you get beat twice, you're out of the tournament. We got beat twice in the first 2 days, and I was there for the entire week. But it was amazing. I loved every second of it. And I just went and watched teams, and then I go to vendors and just look at stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I love this so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's little stories like that add up, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yep. So a lot of kids on the internet also say that it's not your skill level anymore at this day in the game. It's who you know. You know, if someone's friends with YAYA and they're not that good, they're gonna get on Houston Heat. Do you believe that, or is it really if a kid's straight stunting? And you've never even seen him, but he's stunting, you guys as Houston Heat would take a look at, like, who is this kid? And we need to take him on the team now and build him for the future.
Yeah, it's not a networking thing, you know, and I understand a lot of things in life is about who you know and, like, how you go, things like that. It's literally a process of, like, even with me, when I was a kid, I would go to aftershocks practices, and I'd get, like, 1 or 2 points, and then they would watch me play other tournaments if they were reffing or something like that, and that's how I got noticed. But you have to, they have to notice you. You have to do things like continuing, like if you're on the grind, if I know you and I can see you like consistently being at the field, things like that, I'm gonna recognize you more. But I'm not gonna just hand anybody any kind of position like that. So for a kid to like think that that's gonna happen, that's where he's like wrong right there. He'll probably never win a pro tournament, and he'll probably won't even make it to Sunday half the time. So throw that out the window. Just apply yourself. Literally get on the grind till you're throwing up. I remember when we first started this process with Houston, I was throwing up on my gun all the time because like Jason Chosen was working so hard. It's things like that that like make you feel appreciated when you win pro tournaments.
No, that's cool. Definitely on the grind. I know, like I said, back to the pits, like just get yourself noticed as much as possible. If you like hit up these guys before the event and go, hey, do you mind if I come pit for you? You guys are always looking for people to help wipe hits off, to go grab pods after they're done playing, like all that stuff. Now, and these guys are going to know who you are, right? And then if you're still grinding and they happen to catch you at the field one day or walk by you playing and they notice you and you're just stunting, they're going to take a second look at you. And then that's going to give you your chance to go to a practice. And then if you go to a practice and kill it, you may be on the team. So it's things like that, going above and beyond and putting that extra effort that I think will really give you the chance to go pro.
He knows the process right now.
Let's go, baby.
He's lived it. He knows it. He sees it all the time.
Straight up.
I'm telling you.
I just wanted to have a few different tips for these guys to know that, one, it is possible.
Yes.
And two, that it is going to be a grind.
Yes.
And you do have to bust your ass, and you do have to go above and beyond.
You're going to have real life situations. I've missed birthday parties. I've
funerals.
Yes,
I've missed funerals.
Weddings. Like, I remember when my sister, like, was getting married, like, I had to tell my parents, like, nope, I got an event. And they're like, what? And I'm like, this isn't really a question anymore. And it was just, I mean, it's difficult and it's a sacrifice, but if you're willing to do it, it will work out for you.
And I know we're saying all like how hard it was and tough, but those are the best memories to look back on it. But also, we've traveled the entire world because of paintball. We've had the most fun that I could not even explain to you how much fun the boys have. Traveling the world and just getting to play paintball and getting paid to do it, like it's worth the grind. It's worth putting the extra effort in and eating shit down when you're starting off, because it's totally worth it being in France, running
Yeah.
around, playing paintball, is the best feeling in the world.
To sit here today and to be like how much we went through, like this is why I know like it's worth it, you know.
Yeah.
To even have this interview right now,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's a great feeling, but it takes a lot of work. Like there's gonna be haters. There's gonna be people who doubt you. There's gonna be people who don't understand you, and that's okay. But as long as you know in your heart and you have the passion for it, then it's gonna work out. That's all you have to believe in.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. I was doing a shameless plug the entire time. I don't know if you guys saw this, but our brand new hard case, exo case. This protects your tanks. These just dropped. They're live on hkrarmy.com. This is Chad YAYA Bouchez, Mr. H. Mark KRESSIN. And I hope we gave you some good feedback there and some good tips. If you have any questions, you can hit me up direct at MarkyHKArmy on Instagram. And then where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Chad YAYA Bouchez, or even on Facebook at Chad YAYA Bouchez again.
There we go. And he is the coolest guy in the world. If you ask him any questions, he's going to respond just as well as me. So
Yeah.
don't feel free to ask us anything you want. We're more than happy to help. This is Mr. H and Chad YAYA Bouchez reporting out from Dana Point, California. Let's go.